when we're thinking about kind of the theory of the lane, there's multiple things that we need to take into consideration so that we know what we can do and when we can do it. Now, this is one of the most important things to League and one of the important things about being a one-trick. And, one-tricking is not bad. One-tricking is actually incredibly beneficial because you get rid of this kind of aspect. So when it comes to kind of learning League, there's obviously you've got your micro, you've got your macro, and you've just got to be honest, your mental. So the three M's. Now, from the way you play and from obviously seeing how, I think this part is nailed. I think your mental's probably kind of solid in the fact that even things when things went wrong, it didn't really phase you, it didn't affect you, and this is kind of a really big thing because a lot of mental also comes down to wanting to improve and understanding that being self-aware. So right now, I think you're very self-aware that the things that you've learned, you put into practice quite a bit. But now you're just missing the things you haven't learned. Now, obviously, we can't get to macro until we've nailed micro. Now, this is one of the reasons I said...
What's micro?
So micro is kind of all of the kind of interactions that you're in direct control of. So say, for example, you're playing a single-player game. That'll be kind of like all micro, right? Because it's all the stuff that you are in direct control of. Whereas with League, there's stuff that is out of your control. There's stuff that you have to make decisions about. That would be kind of macro. And then micro is how you position, how you move your mouse, how you last hit your minions, and just stuff like that, So before you can really nail macro, you have to be able to understand your champion and also kind of how your champion applies into the lane. Now, a big part of this is also knowing the matchups. So right here we have an Ashe and Thresh, and you were into a Soraka and a Trist. Now, I know we briefly covered this, but I just want to go over it in a little bit more. Ooh, that's very bright, but we'll just go over it in a bit more detail. So you've got Ashe, Thresh, Soraka, Trist. Now, what does this Soraka Trist lane want to achieve? What does these champions want to achieve? Let's just highlight the ADC.
Scale, I think.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Trist is she can be very, very aggressive early game, because of her jump. But she can also scale pretty heavily because of her increased range, her crit on her bombs, stuff like that. So the first thing we need to evaluate is at what point these kind of laners are good. Now, if we take Ashe is primarily early to mid. Like, later on into the game, she can still do work, she can still do damage, but if you're against something like a Trist, she will outscale you because she is a hyper carry. Now, obviously, Trist, like I said, she's okay early, but she does really want to go for this kind of late game, primarily. Now, Soraka, I mean, it doesn't really work as much. Like, this lane doesn't really work too well, and why do you think that is?
Sure, really.
So Tristana wants to kind of jump in and go all in. So it's actually important that we kind of go over this kind of concept again. So we have poke, we have all in, and so I'll just write it out. So we have poke, we have all in, and we have sustain. Now, pretty much all champions can be categorized into these three kind of areas based on what they want to do, but you can also manipulate it a little bit. So there's certain champions like Ashe, where Ashe, she does really want to all in. She wants to use her ultimate to lock them down and just run them down, and with her passive, she can slow them so that she can do a lot of damage. Now, she can also poke. Even though she's not primarily a poke champ, she still can, right? So one of the things we have to take into consideration here is Tristana. She's just an all-in champion. She doesn't really do anything else. She just all-ins. So what we can do is we can go, okay, well, what we're going to do is we're going to poke her out to the point that if she all-ins, she doesn't have enough HP to actually do anything, right? So right now we can kind of establish that this is the ADC matchup. We want to poke her out to stop her all-inning, and that's what we play around. Until we can all in. Now, the reason Ashe is kind of good into Soraka is because once you get this level 6, you have the potential to all in her, and Soraka is based around cooldowns. If she's given the ability to repeatedly have her W off cooldown and heal somebody up, she's just going to heal them to full. Like, very easily. Especially if she goes Warmog's first item as well. She's going to be, like, it's going to be very hard to do anything. So what we need to do is we need to go, okay, well, in order to beat Soraka, we have to all in. And Trist, she is going to kind of scale. So, we can kind of use this to establish what we actually want to do in the lane. Now, the good thing here is Ashe and Thresh, they both fulfill the same kind of fantasy in lane, in that they both want to all in, run somebody down, single target, and go nuts. So this means that what you need to do if you're playing the Ashe is you need to kind of accommodate what the Thresh also wants, and you have to kind of play for that all in, which is super important. Now, this is where I think you're going a little bit wrong at the moment, because you're playing very, very defensive throughout, which is okay, but then the times that you have to go aggressive, you're not actually taking them. And because of this is giving you kind of this feeling where you're not really learning anything, you're not really doing anything, because you're not pushing yourself to learn extra aspects of the game. And because, like you're a platinum now, you've kind of just come back, and you're just slowly getting there. So evaluating what the lanes want to achieve is really, really important. So that's kind of like the first step. Now, the next step is evaluating how the early laning phase is going to go. So you kind of want to see it as like chess, right? It's like, okay, well, how do I want to open up the lane in order to do something? Now, what do you think Tristana's first opportunity to do anything is within the laning phase?
Probably like level 2.
Yeah. So a level 2 is very good. Her level 3 is also very good. But what does that mean? Like, what about a level 1?
She'll be quite weak, so she's like punishable.
Yeah.
At level 1.
Yeah. So these are kind of the things that we have to be thinking of and considering, which we didn't really do as much. Now, if the Soraka throws her Q out, she doesn't have a single ability, right? Like, and it's the same with most things. It's like if a Brand throws his W, he's going to have no damage for a considerable amount of time. So we have to play around this, and this is something that we didn't quite do as much. So right here, so the first thing, getting these 3 minions is completely fine, but then the problem is that we start damaging minions after that. So right here, these all die, and now we don't want to interact with the wave, right? Because if we interact with the wave, we're basically going to be in a position where we're going to push it in, and we're not going to be able to punish them. So right here, Soraka's just used her Q, so you can kind of run them down a little bit. Your autos are extremely powerful. And what you can do is you can actually run her down just a little bit now, considering she hasn't got anything. Because right here, so in that moment, after she used the... so here as well, to be honest, this is kind of one thing that you do sort of want to avoid as well, is using your kind of W on these first 3, because you don't really need to, right? Like, you can come up to the wave and you can kind of auto one as soon as you get here, get that. You can auto another, and then you can get the last one too. So this will take a bit of time in practice still, but it will help you a lot, because then you've still got your W. It's got a very long cooldown, and you still get your W that you can punish it in this early laning phase if you do that. So right here, if you had W, this is probably a flash. You'll probably get one of their flashes, which if that's Soraka's, that's very good for you,
Yeah.
So right here, when we actually look at this, it's like, so what are we putting these autos in the waves for? And this is kind of one of the things you want to think of.
Just trying to get level 2, I think.
Yeah. So the thing is, we're already going to get it, right? Because if we look at the damage on these minions, ours is still almost full HP, and theirs a chunk down way more than ours, right? So right now we already have the HP advantage in the lane. So we're already going to get level 2 first, based on this. You never really want to hard push this first wave. You want to wait till the second one comes in, and then you can rush level 2 on the second one. But right here, this is your opportunity. Well, you don't have anything to do with the minions, so you just run them down. And you just kind of take some damage into them, especially your Halo Blades. Like, if you proc Halo Blades, it's another thing. Do you know how much range a Ashe has?
Is it 550?
Nope.
600?
Yeah. So Ashe is
really?
a 600 range ADC. This is why she's often taken into things like Caitlyn.
And Tristana has 550, is it?
525.
Alright,
So the average for most champions is 525, but then you have things like Ashe, Aphelios, Caitlyn, that they're all like Senna 600, that they're all kind of either 575 or higher. Pretty sure Draven is 575 as well. So you do want to kind of abuse this auto attack range, because right now she can't hit you if you get the first hit, which is really important, and this is also going to really help you in the future as well, especially because I think the new rune is going to actually be pretty good on Ashe first strike, purely because you can always auto them first because you're attack range, right? So as soon as you get that... What's that, sorry?
Sorry, is that the rune that gives you more attack range?
No, that's lethal tempo. So first strike is
Oh,
an
right.
inspiration rune, which means that if you hit the enemy first, you get you do bonus true damage to them, and then you gain gold based on the true damage that you deal. So I think
Alright.
10% of your damage gets converted to true, and then you get gold based on that. So that's going to be very good for Ashe, obviously, because of her range. Now, like we said, we're playing very, very kind of defensive early. And, you know, it's just kind of meaning that we're losing a lot of the potential that Ashe has. Like, because if you start, like, laying in somebody early, you're going to do so much damage. Like, see here? Like, that was 3 autos with your Halo Blades, and you just took 25% of her HP. Now, another big thing about this is Soraka has no W right now. So she can't actually heal any of this damage up. So going really aggressive level 1 is really, really good in this thing. So now the Triss does kind of get caught by the hook, which is fine. But then as soon as she flashes, just instantly turn on the Soraka. Because the Soraka's HP is way more valuable. What's that, sorry?
That was my bad.
That's okay.
I kind of like greeded for it, and then
Just a little bit. So, so one of the things that you have to do is you kind of have to rewire your brain slightly to, instead of valuing kills, value potential kills. So you've just taken flash away from Tristana now, which means she has no flash for 5 minutes. Now, obviously, Tristana, it doesn't matter as much because she's got a W in the reset, but you still got her flash, right? So now what you want to do is you want to turn on the Soraka so she doesn't have as much HP to heal the Tristana up after. Because right now, Soraka will get 2 and just heal the Trista.
yeah.
So now the Thresh did actually catch her. I don't know what Triss was doing. Like, I mean, to be fair, that was a pretty big miss by the Thresh. But again, like we previously discussed before you start the game, that you just have to dodge the Soraka Q. Like, the champion is super frustrating to play into. And it, you know, your supports will int you a lot and kind of not really take that Q into consideration and give her a ton of HP back. But
I think one of the problems as well is like trying to find the best move. It's like it depends on your support as well.
Yeah,
and if you don't have that, like synergy, or
yeah, slightly,
it doesn't work out like most of the time.
So this is why ADC can be a little bit hard. Because obviously it is dependent on that support as well. But so here, so what do you think was the mistake here?
I didn't go for an extra auto attack on the Soraka.
Yeah. So
like I could have.
Yeah. So right here, she used her Q there, right? So it's like she has no Q now, so she can't heal up at all. So what we want to do is we just want to run her down at this point and just keep going. Because look at our HP difference. We'll kill the Soraka so fast, and we have heal, and we still have flash advantage, which Triss doesn't have, obviously. So if we'd have just kept going a little bit more aggressive, we would have potentially been able to grab the Soraka. But either way, I don't think we needed to actually heal there. I think we kind of panicked a little bit.
Like, yeah, panic.
Yeah, so we'd already committed our flash. Now, what do you think is one of the biggest downsides to Tristana if she decides to jump in and doesn't get her bomb off?
Do
you know how she works?
I think she lacks damage, so...
Okay, that's one thing. But do you know how a W works?
It, like, if the W hits on a bomb, it acts as another auto.
Okay,
yeah.
But also, if she fully stacks a bomb...
she can jump again.
She can jump again, yeah. Or if she gets a kill or assist, she can jump again. So one of the big things here is that you've already flashed out, and now you just have to kite her, and she's screwed. She can't get away, right? Like, she's got no jump. So the fact that you played her bomb like that was really good. Now, obviously, Soraka is Soraka, and she's kind of healing her up by quite a bit. But now they have no kind of pressure of the lane. Now, what do you think you should have been doing at this point? What could you have used that you didn't?
Could have frozen lane, I guess.
No, not really. They're super low, so you do want to poke them out, to be honest. But what are you lacking a lot of right now?
I don't know, really. HP.
So we have two...
I didn't use the biscuits.
Yeah, we have 2 biscuits in our inventory right now. And we didn't use these for a considerable amount of time. like for ages. So right here, what we could do is Soraka can't keep healing her, right? Because as long as we dodge the Q, she can't just keep healing her under the tower. So what we do is we just pop our biscuits here, we push this wave in, and then we just keep poking them with W under tower, and it'll get to a point where if they stay, they'll die. Like, now what is another indicator on the map right now that you are safe to be very aggressive in this moment?
We have vision.
Yeah.
Well, okay, vision.
Yeah. I mean, you have Tribush awarded, so that's something. But what else
And
do you have?
Poppy's like covering.
Yeah, exactly. Poppy is in this bottom side of the map right now, which means that, say for example, a jungler comes like this, Poppy just comes down and helps you. Completely fine. So we are safe to go very aggressive here. Now, say if Poppy was top lane, probably a little bit different. But, you know, she's not, so we're in a good position here. So we do get the slow on Soraka, which was good. Unfortunately, she did get that kill. So one thing that you also want to do with Ashe as well is try and open up with your W. So why do you think opening up with your W is pretty important?
Just to get the slow.
Yeah, so if they're slowed, what else happens?
We can get another auto on them.
Yeah, so, and if they're slowed and you auto them, you get more damage because that's how Ashe's passive works. Like if you slow them, every auto you do while they're slowed, you'll do more damage. So right there, if you would have W'd her initially, she would have got slowed, and then you walk in, auto, and you'd actually get the kill. So opening it with W is really, really good because, I mean, you did get Frost on her anyway, but, you know, there's some situations where that little bit more damage will be really, really handy. Now right here, there's a cannon, so we can push this into the tower, and we can get that, like, plate. Just because the cannon, you know, allows this wave to stack up for a while, and then we know it's going to pull into us. So we just get this one. So we could have even backed away a little bit before that, to be honest, because we had so many casters targeting the tower. So right there, we could have just backed away at this point, and just started our recall instead of just fully committing to it. Which, you know, it wouldn't really do that much in this situation, but overall it helps a lot. Now, in terms of this kind of decision, now if you're ever kind of in a lane where you need to dodge things, which is most lanes right now for Ashe, you know, Thresh, Nautilus, Blitzcrank, Rel, even things like Soraka, Nami, Janna, like they've all got things that you want to dodge, and also like we previously mentioned, your passive means that if they have frost on them, you'll do more damage. So the more autos you can get on them, the more overall damage you're going to do. So getting boots on Ashe don't just give you that mobility, but the attack speed gives you considerable, like, more trading potential, you know? And it's like, I mean, the healing's nice, but you're snowballing a bit, you know? Like, you wanna keep it going, because they're not doing too great in lane, and you want to make sure you abuse that. So right here, one of the things that we want to do is make sure that we only kind of last hit minions, because in this situation we have a slow push building. So we have a cannon and a slow push, which means we get a lot of kind of opportunity to do things here. Now Soraka did go mid, and Thresh also went mid. Now we already have an advantage over Triss, right? Because we've already got an assist, and we've got more CS in her, so we've got more gold. So what we can do here, and this is what I was saying before, is instead of standing back here, because we see Soraka there, what you can do is you can stand around, or even around like this, sorry, because this you'll give vision of the brush. So you can even stand here, auto these minions, and then just W behind, right? Because if you throw your W like that, it's not going to hit the minions, it's not going to interrupt the wave, and you can just zone her off entirely, because if you land a W, you can just run her down. You can just chase her, because she can't really do that much. So right here, there's kind of another point where, you know, we could have been a little bit more aggressive, but we kind of didn't. But either way, this is going to push in, so we can use this slow push. So now both supports have come back. Again, Soraka's...
Can I just quickly say something?
Yeah, of course.
So how do I get into the mindset of, like, finding the best move, like, all the time? Like, how do I just watch my replays and just say, oh, just look at the best move?
So that's partly. Also, it's kind of a case of you just kind of have one of the big things with players is when you one-trick champions, a lot of the times you'll one-trick a champion and you'll kind of get the mechanics down, but you won't really push the champion to their limits. Now, knowing how to kind of get the maximum out of your champion is really, really important, because that's how you kind of know when you can abuse the enemy, when you can do certain things, and that's pretty big. Now, what do you see right now in this frame that indicates that you're stronger?
The wave.
Okay, so wave is part of it. What else?
Items, I guess.
Yeah, items too. Items.
Oh, levels.
Uh-huh. So you're level 5 right now. So do you know on average how much gold you get per level? In base stats. So every time you level up, you get base stats, which, give you certain, abilities to do things. So each level is roughly on average about 575 gold. I think on average per champion it's 575. Obviously things like bruises will be much higher. They can be all the way up to like the 652 mark, and that's why top lane is so impactful. And carries are usually slightly lower, so maybe around the 500 550 mark, but that's still nearly 2 kills worth of gold that you have in advantage just in base stats, right? Now a lot of that gold does come in things like your armor, your HP regen, your HP, but it gives you the opportunity where you can go, okay, well, I'm a higher level, so I can run them down. And this is one of the things that we weren't taking into consideration in this game, and this kind of where we were struggling to get our kind of pressure off, even though we were stronger. So right here, see? So even there, like, we do kind of start walking up, but then we sort of stop. So right here, we don't want to allow her to walk up to these minions. So like right there, these minions that she's getting, like there's no reason for her to be allowed to get those, right? Like especially this cannon. So one of the important things here is this cannon's lower. So another thing that you can pay note of is that ADCs, especially in low elo, like even like platinum stuff like that, they will tunnel vision for this cannon so hard.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
So hard. So this is one of the things that we want to look to. Yeah, exactly. So this is one of the things that we want to look to abuse, right? Because right now this cannon is super low. So we can kill this off, and then as soon as she walks up for this, we just run her down. Because then we're giving her a choice. She can either trade back with us, or she can get the cannon. If she trades with us, she misses the cannon. If she gets a cannon, we kill her. So it's kind of like you're giving her this instant decision of you have to choose what to do right now. Like, and ADCs will panic. Like, anybody panics in this elo, and they're like, oh, I don't know what to do. And then before you know it, you're basically in a winning trade, and you've just completely ruined them, So, and that's another reason why the boots are so good as well. That cannon, you would have actually missed it if it wasn't for the attack speed. So, see right here? You just allow her to hit it, right? And at this point, she's level 3 to your level 5. So you just allow her to hit this for no reason. And this is what I was meaning about the fact that we're playing extremely defensive, because we're not really taking advantage of the opportunities that we're given. We're just farming up. Your farm isn't too bad, to be honest. I mean, it does pick up later on into the game, but, this is okay. Obviously, there is minions that you're missing, like that one there. We just missed that for no real reason, because we tunnel visioned on them. But it's kind of like we tunnel visioned at the wrong point,
Yeah.
So... And now here, again, Soraka's Q is gone, so we can run into both of them. And now E is gone, so she's just wasted it, doing absolutely nothing. So at this point, you don't even need to hard force a wave. You can just run into them and kind of do a ton of damage. Now, obviously a Mumu could be here, but choosing to take that kind of trade opportunity is pretty important. Because now what's going to happen is the wave is crashed in. So have you ever heard of the push and pull rule?
No, I don't know.
So the push and pull rule is that when the wave is pushing in, if you have more minions, unless they decide to trim that wave down, it is always going to push in. Always, always, always. You can't stop it. It's a fundamental kind of concept that it will always push in. Now, when it's pushing in, you have more minions. So what do you think that you should be looking to do when you have a bigger wave to back you up?
Try shove it in.
No, just trade. So this is the point where you trade, you try and skirmish with them, you try and get fights off, because if they fight you back, if Tristana jumps in, you got more minions, so you just win. Now, on vice versa, if say, for example, it was pulling into you, if we've just established that a push is we trade, what do you think we do on a pull?
stay back and just try and fight.
Yeah, be defensive. Just let it come back to us. It will come back every single time without fail unless we mess it up. So we just want to allow it. We just want to ping pong waves because we're just waiting on level 6, right? So if we can kind of go aggressive and trade with them in that kind of window, then perfect. But if not, then we'll just let the waves come back, and as soon as we get ult, we'll kill them, which is what we did. So this is the thing, and obviously I'd given you kind of a game plan of what to do. In this game, you know, like get 6 and then engage on Soraka, kill her, and then kill Triss. But it's kind of like a case of now it's kind of up to you to understand why we made that decision. And obviously we saw it in execution and we saw kind of how it played out. But like right now, we know that we're going to get 6 off this wave. So we want to kind of be playing, you know, a little bit further up. So that we, you know, we're able to just all in on the Soraka as soon as we get a chance, you know, because we do have to kill her off, and she has got more XP right now too.
I'm just kind of like letting them push us in a bit, so I'll bait them into a fight.
See what I mean? We're just kind of playing really kind of safe for no real reason. We're much stronger. So here, this is good. Instantly ult on the Soraka, and then we kill her off. Now, obviously the exhaust did come down, which was a little bit unfortunate, but it's completely fine.
This fucking Thresh, man.
Yeah, he was really good. So, what do you think was one of the biggest mistakes? So this was a really good fight. I mean, it went well. I mean, the Thresh did play it nuts as well. But what do you think was one of the main things that we should have done, which would have just meant that we didn't have to panic as much?
Faster on the Q.
Okay, yeah, that's one thing.
And then I misordered a minion.
Yeah,
and I tend to do that a lot because I'm using I don't forget what it's called, attack range or whatever it is.
Okay, yeah. So one thing that you can do in those situations is, do you know which key the tilde key is?
Tilt key.
Tilde, TILD.
No, I don't know.
You see the button to the left of number 1, in the top left, just below escape. It's like a little exclamation mark, kind of. Not exclamation mark, like an apostrophe, kind of.
So like there's like a sideways S on it, is it?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. So to the left of number 1, just below escape, that button. If you actually, if you go into your game settings, scroll down to the bottom, it'll say treat target champion only as a toggle. Now you want to turn that on when you get a chance, because what that does is if you press it, your mouse, and you're using the new cursor, this little central bit here will turn red. When it turns red, it means you can't right click anything that isn't a champion. So in that kind of situation, you turn it on and you just right click it. Like obviously you do have to click here, then right click, then like kite like that. You can't really use A click for it as much, but it will allow you to A, fight within the wave, which on Ashe is super important, and also, you know, still just get off really good fights where you don't, you know, auto attack a minion by accident. But also you had a cookie too. So again, we didn't really proc this cookie at all. Whereas, you know, you can proc cookie and pot at the same time. So you just keep getting a ton of regen. Which again will be even more important when you get Vampiric Scepter, because you just become a tank. You just have so much HP. Now this Thresh was kind of nuts. Like the fact that he walked back here to lantern you out if a Mumu came.
Yeah, this is great. Like,
that's actually so
this is
good.
what I do when I'm on Thresh always.
And he gave you a solo goal, which is nice. So yeah, so here in this situation, like you have to kind of evaluate what do you need. Now in this game, they have a Soraka, so it's kind of like, how to explain it. Now what Soraka does is she reduces the overall damage of your team. Because say for example, if you're doing 100% damage, but she's healing 50% of it, then you're only doing 50% damage. So it's like, as a carry, you need to be surviving longer in order to be effective into a Soraka. So again, they have plenty of AP as well. So we're already thinking, okay, a Mumu, Tristana does some AP, Soraka's got some magic damage too. So they have a lot of magic damage. So, you know, Wit's End is a really high value pick. And, you know, we do also want Ginzus later on, because we need to kite them as much as possible and keep applying that frost shot as much as we can. So it's basically like, we choose our mythic based on the other items that we want to get, so that we can get a good view of like full build, right? Because if we went like Kraken Slayer and then Wit's End, it'd be like, it wouldn't be as valuable, Whereas Shield Bow keep you alive, gives you that healing in lane, which you're playing into a Soraka. So it's kind of like, if you can heal up as well, it'll just mean that you're not losing anywhere near as much kind of trade potential in lane, because you're not just losing a ton of HP, right? So this was fine. So one thing that you want to do here is you want to preemptively fire your auto at the minion. So here, okay, good. This one you can't get. This one, it was singy, but that one you could have got. So you could have used W there just to get those 2 minions, but overall it's not too bad. Now here you do want to ping Thresh to stop, because he might know what he's doing on the champion, but in that moment it was kind of a bit risky for him to start pushing it. But then as soon as we see them mid, then we want to decide to push. So we never want to kind of push without having adequate kind of information. But one of the things here is you don't have to be all this way back, right? So what you can do is you can walk here, start hitting them, and then as soon as they walk in this area, you can kind of W them, maybe get an auto or 2, and then run away. Like, obviously you're going to take aggro from these, but you're way stronger right now. Like, way, way, way stronger. And you've still got 3 biscuits. So again, this is kind of another one of the situations where we could have played here and played kind of aggro, and we kind of chose not to, because we don't even see when they're on the way, right? So we can't actually stop them all. And see, look how much damage you're doing. You just nearly halved it. Obviously then Soraka comes in and just heals, but again, we're just kind of waiting for it to reset. So now the wave is reset, what do you think we're looking to do? Well, what do you think the thought process should be?
I don't know, really.
Just all in the Soraka again, right? Because if we can just abuse her and keep her as low level as possible.
If I all in the Soraka, like, the Tristana will just jump me and try and kill me,
But she's so much weaker than you right now. And if you kill the Soraka, she's got no healing. Whereas you do. Because you have A, your biscuits, B, your vampiric, and you've got Taste of Blood, have you? Or
I should just use the E as well, so I could probably go in there.
And you've probably got Taste of Blood and Ravenous, right? I think you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have so much healing in your kit. Now, obviously, she also has that, but you're way stronger. And you've got Vampiric. So, yeah. So, see, E gone. So, it's like, okay, we've just seen this gone. So, we just go. So, this was unfortunate. The Thresh just randomly started hitting it. He made it so obvious. It's actually unreal. But, yeah. So, they got reset off. So now, obviously, Thresh is mid. So again, now we're going to implement the pull rule again, where this wave will come back into us. And Thresh is mid right now, whereas the Soraka is bot. So even here, don't even waste your mana on that W on her. It's just really not worth it. Because we're not going to look to kill them right now, because Thresh is mid lane. So if Thresh goes mid and gets something now, and we just stay back and do our job to just play safe, then our team overall gets a win. And we're not going to lose anything, right? Because look at this wave getting pushed in. So it's like, we don't lose anything. We get this. Here, I think you could have gone a little bit earlier, to be honest. So as soon as you've got this cannon, I think you could have just gone there. So, or that one. So, see, so this is kind of another thing with your clicks. Now, we'll go over your clicks a little bit more. There's a play specifically that I have in mind. But right here, do you see? So here's your clicks. They're okay. They're okay. These are fine. So right here, right? So you just click back here. So right here, this is where you have to kind of take into consideration what you're doing with clicks. Because the fact that you click back here means that you started walking this way. Now, what can you use as an indicator that you give information away about your clicks? If you clicked here, what about your character tells her where you've clicked?
Tells that no one's going to gank.
Okay. Now, I mean, one of the big things is your face is facing back here, which means she knows you've clicked back here now, right? So she can just, keep playing safe here. She doesn't even need to use a W. So instead, what we should have been doing is clicking here to try and force her W early, because as soon as she Ws, we get a W, we get an ult, and she's just ruined. There's nothing she can do. Now, it's kind of like, I don't know if you watch like Formula 1 or anything either, but like if you stick close to the wall like this as well, she's going to get a point in her path where she has to kind of close the gap between you and her. if you sit close to this wall, right? Because this curves round, so she's actually got so much more distance here that she has to run because of how she's positioning. So we can abuse that. Is this another thing that we're not really abusing? And we've got TP coming in. Thresh was on his way down. And then
she didn't even flash it.
No, she didn't. I mean, I don't know. I think she would have died even if she flashed, to be honest. But so see what I mean? Kind of the amount of things that are coming up, kind of within the laning phase that we probably didn't even consider before. So this kind of the things that are gonna get you to that kind of next level is the fact that, you know, now we've covered these things, you know that they exist, etc., etc. So now we got a shield bow. So now we're just so strong. Now another thing you want to do is you also want to press tab way more. Because right now, what does she have? What items has she got?
Alright.
Huh?
I don't know.
Exactly. That's the correct answer. Like, it's kind of a trick question, but we have no idea because we haven't checked. But, you know, we just run her down.
I don't know why she's able to nearly kill me here. It's kind of weird.
I mean, she exhausted you, right? So
yeah,
that's how she did so much. So one of the things that you want to do here is, again, a summoner is just as valuable as a kill. So right here, so as soon as this exhaust comes down, you just back off. You just step back. Because now you've got her exhaust, which means the next time you go in, great. Now what's another really, really important thing that's coming up soon that, you know, getting rid of the exhaust is very valuable for?
I don't know.
Your ultimate is on 12-second cooldown, right? So it's like, we've got her exhaust now. That means as soon as our ult's up, she's dead. So it's kind of like, you just have to be a bit more patient and think more kind of in the long run instead of instant. Now, that is kind of hard because nobody tells you, you know, think 30 seconds in advance or think a minute in advance because, you know, nobody really tells you anything about this game. But yeah, making sure that you kind of understand those kind of things, because here she popped a shield bow as well, which, you know, is a 90-second cooldown, and also we ended up flashing. Now, flashing on Ashe, you never really want to do it purely because you're on a mobile ADC, right? So it's kind of like flashing forward there is like, we don't really need to. So here we start getting this tower.
We die.
And Mumu comes, So this is kind of one of them things. So that was okay. This amount was fine. So now we have to just take into consideration that he's got 2 Qs. So we have to stay out of range of the Amumu ult on the Thresh, right? So it's like we have to go, okay, well, if he Qs to the Thresh now, we have to make sure that we stand back. So we just wait for the Q to come out, and then we stay back. So obviously, he manages to kill you there. Soraka as well healed, which obviously is a bit unfortunate because he has high HP regen as well from the red buff, so a little bit of a mistake, sure.
What am I doing now? So
this was a rotation. So what do you think was one of the indicators that we used to decide to rotate into mid here?
I have no idea.
Okay.
This is something I don't understand at all.
Okay.
I thought you rotate when you take the tower bot so you can get the tower, but
I mean, not always. So right now we've just pushed the cannon in, right? So what is going to happen now with this cannon? It's going to go to the tower, right? So somebody has to come and farm this, correct? So because somebody has to come and farm this, if we instantly start moving now and come to this mid lane, we get a guaranteed numbers advantage. So it's kind of like we're putting ourselves in a situation where we win no matter what. Because if we rotate into mid lane and we get a kill, we win. If she follows our rotation instantly and comes into mid lane, she loses a ridiculous amount of gold to a tower.
Yeah.
And we also win.
But do I stay mid? Is that... Yeah. That's the question.
So another kind of thing to this as well is that it's much safer for you to be in mid lane, and you can kind of farm up a little bit easier. So right here, they're going to be focusing this bot lane out, and also your support is in mid lane too. So it's like right here, you know, maybe they get a bit ambitious and they try and dive you. Who knows? I don't think they could have dived you, but I mean the Thresh should have just stayed with you and Zilean should have gone bot. But there's another cannon here. So what is special about 15 minutes into the game? We did mention it when you were playing, but what do you think is important about 15 minutes into the game?
I don't know.
So at 15 minutes, and that's when, I mean, I personally determine it's mid game because you get a cannon every 2 waves of 15 minutes. So you get a significant amount of more gold. So pre 15 minutes, the waves are only worth 125 gold. Now, what do you think is going to happen at 25 minutes?
I don't know.
So we'll get a cannon every wave then, you know?
Oh, right. Okay.
So it kind of scales like that, and this is one of the reasons why, farming up is still very, very important. But here, right, we've got Cho'Gath's flash. Now that's valuable because, like we previously discussed, the fact that we've got that flash means that 5 minutes he doesn't have it. Now Triss died there anyway, and the Ornn did TP, I think, but now we just get a free cannon in mid, and we just get that tower. Now, another reason that it's very important for you as the ADC to go into mid lane is because it's an even distance for you to get to both Herald and Dragon. So it's like, if you're only bot, sure you can go to the Herald, but then what if they just all go to the Dragon, but what if they just all go to the Herald? We're going to be in a position where we can't really help that. We can maybe ult across map, but we're not really going to be able to do anything. So as soon as you get the opportunity to kind of move house into mid lane, we can have more pressure over kind of the map. And especially considering we've got a mythic, we're quite ahead on gold. And we're just looking for that wit's end, and this is the thing, farming to 2 items and then going nuts is completely fine. Like, that's kind of one of the main goals of ADC, right? Like, because those 2 item spikes are always super, super valuable.
So, okay, can you explain to me why I want to go mid again?
So A, the Cho'Gath was pushing mid lane out. B, you'd pushed a wave into bot lane, so they were stuck there. They couldn't really rotate. So we basically get a numbers advantage on mid, and it means that by rotating, we either get a kill on the Cho'Gath, or we get his summoners. Which, obviously, we got his flash there, but getting his flash ended up getting us a kill here, I'm fairly certain.
Okay, but what happens if we don't get a kill? Like,
so
we just continues.
So you'd still get the tower. Like, I mean, you got his flash, and that's worth it. That's worth on its own because he's an immobile champion, right? Like, if his flash is down, he has no way of getting away from you. So the fact that you've got boots and frost, and you've also got approach and velocity, which means if you auto him, you get more movement speed towards him. It means that it's very easy for you as Ashe to dodge his Q. So, to be honest, in this kind of situation, we want to look to abuse Cho'Gath as much as possible anyway. But yeah, just rotating into mid just helps us do that. And as well, it also opens up this mid tower. Now, this mid tower is pretty important purely because it gives us the ability to kind of get more pressure before we go to these objectives. So one thing that we want to be focusing on right now is getting the rest of these dragons and also getting the Baron when it comes up. Now, by unlocking mid, we get to push the wave up to this point. Now, the fact that we get to push the wave up to there means that we get vision of this entire area and we can see where they are, right? If they come out of base in this moment, we can see them here based on these minions giving us vision, right?
Okay.
So it's like we can then make even better informed decisions about what we want to do around the map because we have vision too, It's like in League, especially ABC. Yeah, go.
Yeah, and does the mid laner want to go bot as well if I do that?
Ideally, yeah. Ideally.
Okay.
Now, obviously, you will get situations where they won't. But at this point of the game as well, at this kind of mid-game point, the whole map is starting to unlock. So right now, bot lane, since this tower is gone and this tower, it's really not safe for you to be there. And if you have to share XP in mid lane because you don't see where the rest of them are, then so be it, it's just not safe for you to come here because unless you've got all of this area warded, there's so many opportunities. Say we're here, they can come down here, they can blast code over, then come here, they can come through here like this, you know what I mean? There's so many ways to get on top of you here, whereas mid lane, not so much. They can come around here. I mean, sometimes they can come back here, but you can also say put a control ward here. And you're safe from them just kind of coming around you like that, So it's much easier to keep yourself defended on mid lane than it is on the side lanes. So this is why mages should go there because A, Some mages have mobility. Say, for example, a LeBlanc, she can go into a side lane and just not die because she can get away. But at the same time, say if we're playing something like Syndra or Orianna, they have so much wave clear in their kit, even a Zillion, that they can just instantly clear the wave and then rotate to the fight. Whereas for you, it's going to take a little bit longer, right? Like Zillion can one-shot the backline with his double bomb. Whereas you can't really one-shot the backline, It's going to take you a little bit, your W, a few autos, just ends up a little bit of a rough situation. So here, we could have got a little bit of poke on him. Obviously, we don't see where they are, but we did see that they weren't around that area, and Poppy was running down. But here, so this is one of the situations where you do want to push mid out. So why do you just want to instantly push mid lane by here?
Because the dragon's coming up?
Yeah, no, exactly. So, as we previously said, because you're in mid now, you can push this out, and then you just rotate into the dragon way easier. And then you can come back into mid, push it out again, and you'll just claim the gold over and over and over. So it just becomes very methodical and very linear, because you already have such a huge advantage that you just have to keep pushing it. Like, you're going to keep that advantage right now. You just, keep playing very basic at this point. You've already done the hard part of not feeding lane and winning lane. Now we just have to ride that tempo and we're completely fine. So right here, see, we just allow her to push it, which, we have ultimate. We don't really need to allow it. And see right here, so we are stronger, yet she's got the push. So it doesn't really make as much sense because we're stronger, right? If she jumps on us, like say if she jumps on us right now and puts her bomb on us, we can just ult her, stop her from fully stacking her bomb, and then just chase her, just run it out. Because again, she doesn't have an escape if she doesn't get a full bomb off. So this is another kind of one of them concepts that's pretty important. Just because we gave up Prio and we allowed her to walk for no reason, and we can't respond right now, right? Like Zillion does do a lot.
This is just so silly.
Yeah, it's like she was, I don't know, like... Yeah, I mean, she was playing very interesting, but... Emphasis on the int, but... So here...
This is where I, packed wrong,
Yeah,
I was trying to...
Yeah, you auto the dragon.
I accidentally ordered, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't really matter, but yeah, it could have been a triple. But either way, I mean, Ashe is kind of supportive, and yeah, this was good that you come and clear the wave. Like, there's 3 of them dead, including their smite. There's no reason for you to be there. You might as well just go and clear the wave off. So, this was a good back. You have plenty of gold. And now you've got resistances. Wit's End only has 50 MR, which you also get from Megatron Cloak. So it's like, as soon as you have this is basically... you're a tank, like against their AP, and you've still got that. Now, what's a situation where you wouldn't go a defensive item? Actually, I guess, so what I was going to hint at, but I guess Wit's End is very strong for doing extra damage, is the only thing to take into consideration is you can't really build defensive items as much unless you're very ahead. So if, say, for example, you start falling behind, you need to just keep building as much damage as possible so that you can do as much as possible in that fight, whereas if you're ahead, you can start building slightly more defensive because you already have plenty of damage, right? You can already kill them with the damage that you already have. You just
so do I want to go Phantom Dance if I'm behind?
Yeah, Phantom Dance is very, very good because it also gives you Spectral Waltz, so you can also move. You get more movement speed too, which is extremely valuable. Or you could maybe just go Ginzus at that point. It's also going to depend on who they have, right? So one of the biggest kind of situations you have to choose on Ashe is after you've got this mythic, and let's say in this game your mythic and your Wit's End, do you either want to go IE or do you want to go Ginzus? Now, what do you think is the advantages to both?
Say that again, sorry.
So this is going to be one of the biggest kind of points in the game. You have to consider what you actually need. So the point where you have to decide on IE or Ginzus. You can't have both because they both modify your crits, so you can't build both of them. So Ginzus is going to be more so if you need to proc your passive more. It's basically it's something that you can use when you can get more autos off, whereas Infinity Edge is going to allow you to do more damage with each auto, but nowhere near as much attack speed. So it's kind of like you have to decide how much can I auto them. If it's a lot, then you want to go with Ginzus. If it's not as much, then you want to go with IE. And that's just kind of one of your biggest kind of split parts. And then after that, you can go things like Lord Dominic's, even stuff like GA, Bloodthirster. You can just change it up based on the game you're in. But 3 items is going to be where you're kind of at your strongest on Ashe. After that, your items aren't as good, and they don't really give you as much value. So here, this was good. So again, what do you think we could have done in this situation? What did we discuss earlier when it came to your passive? So Garen here. So do you know the range of Ashe's W?
No, I don't know.
Okay, so your W is 1200 range. So it's very, very long. It's basically double your attack range. So what you want to do in these situations is with the Garen, you want to W first. If he keeps coming into you, then you can auto him and you'll get that passive damage. So you'll do a ton of damage on him, you know. So always open up with that W just to give yourself more safety. So that he can't really chase you. Because right here, we walk way too close to him and we actually walk in flash range. Now, it's fine though because we just cut him out. And this, again, is one of the reasons why the shield bow is so good. Because the amount you've just healed in that fight is unreal. And then, Garen's dead. That's their front line. You can just chase the rest of them down. This was an insane zillion queue, to be honest.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
So yeah, and now we just push the inhib. And now, so this is the next thing. In terms of this kind of like late game macro. Because again, we're getting towards that 25 minutes, which is, in my opinion, late game. So right now we're, close to finishing our Ginzus. We have a mid inhib open. So right now this mid wave will be pushing anyway. So we walk up, we just get this pushed out, and then we just instantly rotate into top lane because we need to get this tower now, right? Bot lane as well is useful, but Ornn is already top, and he's got his ultimate, so we can do a lot with him. So what you want to do here is you want to come into top and just get this tower. Now this tower will give you 600 gold straight up, which, is a very, very decent amount. So that's just 600 gold for free, and you just want to use everything outside their base in order to crack their base. So the fact that you've already taken this inhib, this is pushing in, you just come and focus this, and then you can go into the Baron. As soon as kind of you chunk them out, you make them have to base, stuff like that. So now that's fine, we just walk up. Now see what's happening in mid lane? Do you see what's happening that we already discussed before?
What? We've got vision there.
So. Yeah, exactly. So we have vision now that Garen's there. So if they come to the Baron, we can turn on them because it's going to be a 5v4. Actually, Amumu's dead. So it's going to be a 5v3. So we don't even have to get this Baron, but if they're not going to contest it, we'll get it anyway. But yeah, this mid lane, giving us this vision, is very, very important. And now we just get Baron, we'll rotate into the Dragon. And the game just becomes easy. Because it's like we just have to ride our tempo.
Yeah.
We've done the hard work. We just don't we just don't throw it, and this is how you'll end up carrying games. Like, and especially when you're playing things like Ashe, that's a utility-based ADC. And so here we could have actually caught this Garen. So this was a little bit with our. There was actually let me just quickly go back. So I think it was around here. There was actually something with your clicks I did just want to say. So one thing here is you use a click for every auto, right?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
So I do the same. The only thing that you want to do is when you're kiting, you want to kind of right click behind you. So what you want to do is when you're kiting somebody, right click. And then
right,
I see,
yeah.
And then right click, and then A click, and then right click, and A, like that. It means that your mouse never has to be here, because then there's no risk of you accidentally walking into them because you've right click the ground instead of them, stuff like that, So A clicking is great, and it's good that you're using it a lot. It's just in some situations you have to make sure that your mouse is in the right spot so that you can kite. So yeah, we could have got the Garen there with an ult. I mean, it's not too bad though. Here you just focus the tower. Again, tower is your main thing, and you've got Baron right now. Baron is for pushing, so you just want to make sure to push as much as you can.
I want to see my positioning here.
Yeah, so this was kind of bad. So right here, you're behind Ornn. Okay, great. So here, all you needed to do is instead of clicking up here, mouse shouldn't have been there. It should have just been about like down here, and you would have been completely fine. You can see you zone yourself off. And then
Tristana just
yeah. So one of the things here that you could have also done is accepted, okay, I've fucked up. And then what you could have done is just as she was jumping, just thrown your ult at her. So alter in that position and then just run away. Get back behind them and then see if you can do damage again. If not, you just escape. You've got a ton of gold. So the fight's quite bad anyway because you've got so much gold. Like you've got 2k on you right now, which means that say for example you're 1,000 gold on the Tristana and you've got 2,000 gold on you. She's basically 1,000 gold on you. Because it doesn't do anything while it's in your pouch now. Which is a little bit sad, but it's okay. So at this point, like, okay, maybe, I mean, the healing is only from Soraka, but the thing is, this is a full item, right? So you're not just getting the item, but you're also getting a mythic spike. So at this point, the game is going to end off this fight, so you may as well just get it. Obviously, you could have gone into, say, like sold the Dorans for a BS sword or another vampiric, but there's no point. Just play for item spikes.
So you don't think I should have gone low on DOMs that game?
No, I don't think you really needed it. The Cho'Gath was AP, and they didn't really have any beefy frontliner, you know?
Alright.
So it's like, I mean, they have Garen, but Garen can't get on top of you. Like, things like Garen, Darius, you don't have to worry about, because they're so immobile that your passive just stops them ever getting close to you. And then if they flash, you've got your ultimate, so don't worry about them. Obviously, if they had something, if Cho'Gath went tank, Garen, you know, was ahead, then maybe, but in the context of the game, you really didn't need it. You just needed to do more damage and also, you know, restrict the amount of healing that Soraka had.
Would you say I would buy Bloodthirster, and then if the game continued, I would have to sell the Bloodthirster for low DOMs?
I don't even think you would have needed to be honest.
Right.
Just because the Cho'Gath's AP, so he's not really going to have all that much. I mean, if anything, maybe Bork. Maybe you could have gone Bork instead of Bloodthirster. If, say, for example, the Garen was ahead, just because it'll give you more kiting potential and more healing. So, you know, maybe.
Can I just say something? What is that champ right there? Like, in front of the Amumu? Oh, right.
Soraka. Oh, yeah, Soraka.
It didn't look like her at all.
Yeah,
Like...
It's this Star Guardian skin. Yeah, she just gave up at that point. But yeah, so like I said, obviously lots of mistakes, but mistakes are always good. Like, you know what I mean? So I'll end the recording there. I'll upload it to YouTube.